But just to kind of level off some of the things that was said. I mean, just a summation, all of the efforts that have been done by the mayors and around, the pandemic and COVID, speaks to why this money is very critical and important. Some of the issues that we faced because of COVID, people just look at, us testing and giving people vaccinations, but the city has to function. We still have to pick up the trash. We still have to have police out there. We still have to have fire. We still have to have all of those things. Cities still have to operate. And most people take that for granted, like, sanitation workers don't get COVID too, or police officers. We actually had 9 police officers die from COVID in our city alone. So all of those things are affected, and we still have to do these things and purchase hotels and lease hotels for people who can't house themselves. We still have to pay overtime for police and fire to be out there because more of them are sick, so you have to have more people working overtime and working for the vaccine sites and testing sites. We found out people had inadequate housing, so we have to begin dealing with that. When we found out that schools had to close, we had to provide virtual space and opportunity for children to learn virtually. And the municipalities, despite what people think, we don't have the resources to deal with all of this. I know most of our residents believe we got a magic button in our desk that we push and every problem you have goes away. But I've been trying to look for that button since 2014. I have not found it. I wish somebody would tell me where it was, unless Corey took it with him when he left. But at the end of the day, it doesn't exist. So the ARP dollars become incredibly important for us. So the things that we spend our money on, ARP, helping people with their businesses, grants for businesses, helping people with their rent so they can pay rent so they sustain themselves, expanding broadband so that more residents can have access to, the internet or virtual, whether it's in the housing authority or the school system, providing broadband to that. And that's what we did, using money to build more homeless shelters for residents without addresses in the city. That's using money for universal basic income or guaranteed income, so those are the specific things we use in dollars for, the ARP dollars. And what I said earlier, to make sure we drill down on our debt, our deficit that was created because people aren't paying their taxes anymore. People aren't paying their payroll taxes. They're not paying their parking taxes. They're not paying. And so, what people don't understand is that the deficits that cities have are humongous. You're talking 40, 50 million dollars or more for cities like Newark, So that money becomes increasingly important. And the infrastructure money is a blessing because we obviously get to use it to do the work we've already talked about, expand broadband even further, get access to more residents at a lower cost, but also fix roads and bridges and all this stuff that people think we have money laying around to fix. If you knew how much it costs to pave a single street, you would understand how much money we need. People say, oh, pave my street. Well, that's a couple of $1 million to pave your street, right? So either where are we going to find the money and how are we going to put it in that and take care of homelessness and pay your rent and do all these other things at the same time. We just can't pay your rent, help you sustain your business, and pave your streets at the same time. We just can't do it, right? So we need federal dollars. So we're grateful for the ARP dollars. And we want to talk a little bit about how we get that spent and the infrastructure dollars. Build Back Better, I don't know if a lot of people know what Build Back Better dollars are about, but we're talking not just child tax credits. You're talking about health care, right? You're talking about access and expanding health care. You're talking about expanding Medicaid. You're talking about the largest investment in affordable housing in the history of this country, right? This is what we're talking about. That's why it's being debated right now. People don't want to pass it, and obviously everybody in this room can use that. All these mayors up here can use that, right? We can use all of that money. That being said, I'm going to open up the floor.
Joe Thomas, City of Camden. The ARP money. The idea where you gave the guaranteed income was a great idea, was a new idea. One was that that type of money And what other initiatives can you use that money for to build economic growth or economic development among businesses? We know we can use it for lease, we know we can use it for utilities, and we know it's basically from March 2020 on to September 2021. But how can we instill that money to create growth going forward?
But you can use CARES Act dollars to spark economic development by investing in actual development as well. You can use the money to do that. We used a little bit of money from CARES Act along with other entitlement dollars to invest $20 million in affordable housing, right? So you begin to get developers the opportunity to build in the city, and you support development that way. These are dollars for our families, for our cities, and the more money we get from federal and state agencies, the less money you have to spend on your taxes, right? So the less tax dollars you have to spend to get some of these problems taken care of, which is what the federal and state grants are supposed to do.